Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Corner Talks podcast. Today, I have a good friend, talented entrepreneur, Kristan Rea. What's going on? How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Kristan, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. It's
Thanks
been a
for having
while.
me. I'm super
Yeah,
excited.
that's amazing. Yeah, no, I'm excited to have you on. I'm even more excited because I'm speaking with someone who's an entrepreneur in streetwear clothing, something that I've recently pursued myself with the 94 collection from my production company, 94 Productions. So very exciting to have you on the podcast to discuss kind of your journey and really what led to this brand being created and established. So over the course of the pandemic, I've seen that you've proudly, distributed, designed these clothing products under the brand AFTR Apparel. So
Yep.
what is the origins behind the brand name? I have to know that first.
All right. Over the course of the pandemic, it was just like a work in progress. Honestly, I think I changed my name like maybe 17 times. I was not set on a name. I'm indecisive to begin with. So
Right.
choosing a name for a clothing brand was like something else.
Hmm.
But I chose after because I'm a huge advocate for what happens in the past, how it affects the present, and how it will eventually determine the future.
Right.
So I chose after. Basically, what after means is the future and the time following. So I used that. I just cut out the E and I just made a short form after. And I just wanted to use it as a way to express how fashion trends in the past have pretty much made their way back into today's life. So, for example, like Champion and Fila, those used to be huge back in the day. Like, I remember my dad telling me that, like, I used to get Champion from Walmart like all the time. And I'm like, that used to sell for $20. Like, now that's like
Yeah,
very high end.
I
Like,
heard that as
people
well.
are
Yeah,
loving
premium brand. Yeah.
Champion. Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's just like amazes me how things like come back after time. Like, I don't know. It's just something I've always been interested in, not only with fashion, but with everything in life. I just wanted to use my passion for my love of evolution pretty much
Right.
and turn it into something that I love doing. I've always
Yeah.
wanted to make a clothing line. Like, I remember in my first years of university, I was talking to one of my good friends and I was like, you know what? I want to start my own business. Like, I want to make a clothing line.
Right.
And she's like, just do it. Like, what's stopping you?
There you go. Just do it. Yeah.
And
And that was kind of the motto for a lot of entrepreneurs or creatives, I should say, in the
thank
pandemic is
you.
just do it.
Exactly.
Right.
Do it.
I was one of them. Like I didn't really make my or begin my production company during the pandemic. It was shortly before, but
Mhm.
definitely had the same motto, the same mindset is, I never don't have any expertise in commerce regarding, entrepreneurship, but it all starts with an idea, a vision, and executing on it.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
back to your point about like the clothing line, like with the trends and how things have evolved, how things have come back, been resurrected. The fanny pack, for instance, right? You see everybody wear
Exactly.
it. Like the fanny pack was such a dorky thing back in what, the 90s, and I guess it was seen as a fashion statement, but you wind the clocks back like what, 10 years, you wouldn't be caught wearing one. But now it's
It's
stylistic,
so
right?
popular. Mhm.
Yeah, there's people, and even men are wearing it more so. If at first I would see more so women wear it, but now men are just rocking it, and they treat it like a wallet. So it's really interesting to see. They wear it differently, I should say. Back in the 90s, everyone wore it around the waist, but now people are
Yeah,
wearing it
I
right, like
around the
across
shoulder. Yeah.
across the chest. Yeah, so there's tweaks, I should say,
Mhm.
little minor changes that kind of our generation makes it our own, right? And yeah, even with the Champion sweaters, the hoodies and stuff, like hoodies, were considered like bummy clothing, right? Like
Mhm.
low end, you didn't have a job, you were lazy, just seen
And
in a
now,
different
like, you look
context.
at hoodies today, like hoodies can be used in so many different styles today. Like, you can dress up a hoodie and make it so, like, you can literally go out to a fancy dinner and wear
Yeah.
a hoodie. You can dress up a hoodie, put some jewelry on, put some nice like like whatever. You can do anything with it, or you can dress down a hoodie. You can put it in a tracksuit. You can,
Hmm.
like you said before,
Yeah,
you were seen as a bum, like it's bummy clothing.
it's more
But
versatile now. Yeah. And
Exactly.
with the color patterns and, you know, the logos, you know, you got Drew House, you got Supreme, you slap that logo on and people will respect you, right? People will see you
A
in a
hundred
different light.
percent.
And like you just said, like I've seen people out to dinner or out on a date rocking
Wearing
like
hoodies.
a Drew House hoodie, right? Or a Supreme hoodie, because
Hmm.
that's how our culture perceives it, especially our generation, the millennials. So very interesting. And I'm happy that we're both in that market. Because I share the same affinity for streetwear. You know, it's just the way I love that it's not too serious. I love that you can wear it with anything. I love that you're constantly feeling comfortable. I know some friends listening might prefer a suit, but I'm the kind of guy where I want to do both. You know, I don't like, you know, just being confined to one kind of style. And I feel like with anyone, right, like just being able to kind of go different ways with clothing um, is a statement in itself,
Exactly.
right? Is a statement in itself, right? So nevertheless, why did you choose to create your own clothing brand though, and not kind of collaborate with another clothing line? You know, work under
Um,
94 collection.
all right, I think, you know what, I was always one to figure things out on my own. Like
Mhm.
growing up, my dad he has his own business. He's
Yeah,
like started from the bottom, like in my nonna's basement, making like he's a sign manufacturer. He started in my nonna's
right.
basement and he slowly, progressively grew into what he is today. He's very a successful businessman, I must
Yes,
say.
yes,
So shout out to my dad. He was honestly a true advocate for me when starting this business. He was supporting me, he was guiding me, he was helping me with um, contacting distributors, manufacturers. And honestly, I would not be where I am today without his help, because he just like, I don't know, like, I guess it was like a dad to daughter kind of advice that he was giving me,
mhm,
but it was like, he put me right on track. He's like, you have to, like, if you want to be successful, this is what you have to do.
yeah,
And I guess that's just like why. Oh, my dad was a huge influence for me, I'd
yeah.
say.
He provided a lot of insight, and I'm really happy you have that like father daughter bond.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of you know girls that are friends of mine, like I notice a common theme, like a pattern. Even I see that in my sister, right? Like being close to your dad. There's just different things that you share, right? And for
Mhm.
your situation, especially, I find what strikes me as so interesting is that, you know, typically you'll have a parent, especially where we're from, right, the suburbs, that will say like, don't start your own business. You should be finding a job. You should be you know, focusing on getting a job with a pension. You should be, you know,
Mhm.
in some situations, you should be focusing on
Of
getting married,
course.
right? You should be focusing on getting married, right? Let's be honest,
Yeah.
right? You're a woman, right? Come from Italian backgrounds, but then again, you have your dad who, you know, who's kind of experienced entrepreneurship, who's kind of went
Mhm.
through the trials and tribulations, who's, you know, ate dirt and, you know, saw gold, right? And
Mhm.
that must be a very interesting perspective to see, like to kind of
Yeah,
get his,
honestly.
right, to kind of get his worldview on like what what it takes to become an entrepreneur, what you should be doing to improve, or what you should be doing better. I'm sure you go to him a lot for feedback, right?
Oh, always,
Yeah,
always. He literally like he helps me a lot with manufacturing. So my clothing brand is all homemade.
nice.
And since he's a sign manufacturer, he helps me get like the most reliable vinyl, because I do like the iron press. So he gets me
Right,
like the most reliable vinyl. He helps me. He actually gave me the machinery to do it. So I do it right in my basement. Like I have my own little shop.
right.
Um, but he tells me that, you know, like starting your own business, you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have people trying to be better than you. You're going to have people try to copy you. But at the end of the day, you can't let them affect you. You can't put your head down and let them bother you. You got to keep your head up and you got to keep going. You can't let these barriers block you from your potential.
Yeah, a significant issue for me, right, as an entrepreneur or just a creative, like an artist, is a comparison, right? Not because I'm envious or jealous of people. It's more because, you know, you do so much, and after a while, you start to say, "Where am I progressing? Where am I headed?" And sometimes it's human nature. You'll see someone in your field or your industry doing something more, or maybe doing something more unique, and what I'm trying to get at is that it takes away the joy. It takes away all the hard work that you put in for yourself by glancing over at someone else. You don't know where they're coming from. You don't know what assistance they had,
Mhm.
right? whether it's financial, moral support. So I think it's so important to look at it from that dynamic, right? But it's all a learning lesson, right? It's all part of the experience, part of progressing as an entrepreneur is identifying, those weaknesses of, like I'm sure your father has said, you can't compare. If you're going to be in this, you have to just look at your lane. You can associate with the right people, you can collaborate with the right people maybe to get you to a farther point, but you absolutely cannot compare because it'll drive you crazy.
And it won't get you far.
It won't get you far, right? And when you do compare, you should stop yourself in the moment. You got to pride yourself. You got to kind of, a big thing too is like, I'm sure you can relate, is you got to believe in like what you're putting out there, what you're doing, right? Like you're just telling me, describing like After Apparel. It's like I can feel from, that speech that you made about why you started the company, what the brand means to you, the meaning behind it, the origins. I felt there's an authenticity, like there's an actual reason. It wasn't because, I just need some side money and everyone's doing it and I want to be the next Supreme. It's no, I have a affinity for streetwear. I've always admired, fashion trends and how they've evolved. And I think that's so important to take with your business. And people, this is something I discuss with you a lot with my brand 94 collection, is people want to hear a story. People want to be captivated. People want value. And when we've collaborated, people are going to see a lot more of our content put out there in the future. That's always, as the filmmaker in me, the visionary, I strive towards, is what story is it telling, or what can we, how better can we captivate the audience instead of just putting out photos of our hoodies being posed in a certain manner, right?
You're right.
Yeah. So
you're right.
Having said that, with regards to my 94 collection and your After Apparel, if you've been following our journey on Instagram, guys, social media, I should say, right? We have been we've collaborated recently. We've joined forces, and it's been a lot of fun. We've done photo shoots, we've done a dance video shoot, and we have a lot more on the horizon that we got to plan out. So the vision for this collaboration was to utilize your skills in dance and my skills in videography to create dance music videos that I mentioned earlier, because I wanted to better promote the merchandise. Now, as an entrepreneur, I want to know from you, why did you agree to this collaboration?
I think that reaching out to other entrepreneurs is a really successful way in better understanding the world, the industry that we're in. So for example, we're both in the streetwear industry. We learn things from each other. Like I was mentioning to you before, it's a learning progress. Yes. We learn things, we learn what not to do, what to do, what will benefit us in the future. And we share these skills with each other and we benefit off of each other. And I feel that it is so important to learn off of other people. And it helps with expanding your clientele as well. Like people will look at our behind the scenes and see that like, wow, Kristan, like After Apparel collabed with the 94 production and this is the outcome of it. Like I didn't know that they know each other. Like that's awesome. Right. I can't wait to see like what they're able to produce and like what it means for the future and what it holds for us basically. And yeah, like I just feel that it's very beneficial when reaching out to other people in the GTA, other audiences, and other people who are trying to make a living out of their whatever industry they want to pursue in their future. So if they want to be entrepreneurs, exactly, they'll see that like, reach out to other people, learn from their experiences, and that'll benefit you and help guide you for what you have to hold in the future, pretty much.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well said. That's exactly like why I, kind of seeked you out and was happy that you were referred to me. My sister, credit to her, excuse me. But I think it's just so important, like you said, is to take advantage of, those resources and capitalizing on people's different talents and kind of creating a vision together, right? Because I was discussing with you, like, I could have easily, I shouldn't say easily, it would have been much more challenging, but there's resources where you could find dancers and, people that can help you with these videos. But I'm a big believer, and I'm sure your dad's the same way because he's Italian, is I prefer to go with people that I'm comfortable with, that I trust,
For
as opposed to, right?
sure.
If I really have
Especially
to,
now
yeah,
in the
go
pandemic
ahead.
too, like you
Yeah,
don't know what people
exactly. You don't know what's
need.
out there, right? And again, like, and not even for me, it's more for them too, right? Like they don't know who I am, right? As much as I have
Mhm.
this vision, this grand vision of like, I can execute, I have a work ethic. They're in the same boat as me. They don't know who I am. And that's why I create the portfolio that I do, because it's much easier. It's my resume, it's my form of communication. It's like, let that do the talking.
Mhm.
But a big thing, I always say this from day one, is the reason, and I'm so happy that you agree with this vision, is I wanted to distinguish ourselves from what I see on Instagram, right? Like what I always see, like the typical photo shoots and the typical like video shoots. I just wanted to do something different with our own unique taste, right? Our own unique vision. And I'm excited for everyone to see what we put out there in the future. So
So excited.
yeah, and how important. So I want to know, like, going back to now social media, right? Because you said you've been getting a lot of great feedback, and I'm so excited, to hear. Please
Let's
relay
go.
anything. Yeah, exactly, right. Please relay anything that comes your way. How important is social media to your brand and its awareness on the market?
Well, okay, so technology is the soul of our generation today. Everything around us revolves around technology. So I feel that social media was definitely a way to advertise and market my brand because everyone uses Instagram. It's not difficult to scroll through your explore page and be like, oh, like this is something new. Like I've never seen this before.
Right.
Click, boom, you have someone reading your profile, you have a potential client. It's just so easy to market throughout the media today because everything is on the media. Like I
Yeah.
cannot think of a single thing that is not technology based
Yeah.
or marketed throughout the media. So it's super easy. It's super reliable. It's very easy to come in contact with a lot of customers. I know right now I just uploaded my website. So that's like another way that, Google search, everyone uses Google. It's an easy search engine and it's so reliable and so accessible for mainly
And
everyone.
the more you put yourself out there, the algorithm will push you up, right?
Absolutely.
Push you to the top
Absolutely.
results. Because I've seen that for myself. Like I appear in Google Images. Like I don't have 50 pictures of my face, but there's 4, and that's much better than 2 years ago when there was nothing. And I like that exposure, right? Because you're getting out there, right? You're getting that reach that's required. And like you said, I think a big thing I should mention, like at our level, because we're fairly new to entrepreneurship and we just started, is, and I always tell you this, it's not so much about the ROI, like the return on investment financially, like getting clients, turning customers into transactions, like monetary gain. It's more so like bringing value, like to the brand, like
Mhm.
building it up, right? Because that's when I feel like there will be a moment in the future where, that's why I'm saying, like, this creative collaboration, where someone outside of our circle, outside of our area, outside of our city, will tap into what our interests are, what products we're selling, and hopefully it could take off from there. I've always said this.
Mhm.
I've said this on other podcasts. I know you're a proponent of this as well. You can't, as much as it's amazing to have your friends, boyfriends, girlfriends, like, cheer you on, they're not going to help you make it. Who's going to help you make it
Absolutely
is people
not.
in the industry, right? And I always get excited when people from Los Angeles, people from, like, Europe, they'll like DM and say, "Oh, this is cool," or they'll comment. I think that's a for progression. And I'm sure you've experienced this,
Absolutely.
or right. And
Mhm.
I'm sure you experienced this or will be experiencing this very soon, because that's what people forget. We get too caught up, especially, the area we're from. I love, our area, suburbs, but everybody gets caught up in the hype, but they don't realize
Mhm.
that it's a very small hype. There's only a number of people that can help you here. You have to really start growing. And for anyone listening to this, if you get discouraged because you see, like, the popular, person in your class or someone, getting more comments, whatever, don't look at that as a determinant. Just look at, who are you targeting in the industry, right? Like if you're in comedy, if you're in fashion, look at the people that can help you in that area. Don't look at people that, someone down the street that invited them to a party or something, you know what I mean? So if anyone could listen to that for advice, for sure, to help them. But That's great. I'm glad that you have that mindset about collaborating. I think it's so important. And social media, right? Never mind
Yeah, for
fashion.
sure.
Technology is the one that's really truly evolving. Um, I want to know, like, what has the experience been like for you since announcing the collaboration and marketing your clothing brand? Like, how has the feedback been? I know we established it's positive, but kind of give me some more details, like anything that you're learning from, anyone giving you like tips on improvements.
Um, I've definitely only received very positive feedback on our collaboration. I've had a couple people reach out to me saying like, oh, like the 94 collection or the 94 production, like that's awesome. Like good for you that you're collabing with it. It's a great way for both of our brands to just like expand and,
Right.
like capture a greater audience by doing something that is so unique. Like many people today would not think to use a dance video as a way to promote
dance music
dance
video.
music.
And you'll see what I mean when you guys will understand when I say dance music video. Yeah.
As a way to like promote their business. People don't think of that today. It's always just like, let's rent out a studio, let's do a photo shoot. Like it's
Let's do a
always
white backdrop with like studio lights, and it's
yeah.
like that's great and all, but where's the grit? Like where's like, you know what I mean?
There's
like,
no story behind it. And this is what we
Yeah.
were saying before. There's no story. Like in order to capture an audience, you have to be unique and you have to portray what your audience wants to see. Because yeah, they want to see like professional photos, but like, do they want to see a professional video with dancing in it? Like that's not something you see
But
every
the
day.
narrative, right? Like people don't realize. So basically, for anyone who's confused, I'm alluding to the music video that we shot recently. Let It Go, DJ Khaled, Justin Bieber. Now I picked that song. Yeah, it's hype. Everyone like knows about Bieber. Everyone knows about the song. It's a summer song, whatever. But I told you this, Kristan, and you agreed with me. You saw my vision. The lyrics is what I'm after. The lyrics is what resonates with me. So when you hear it in that video, talking about rise and grind and like, just hustling that aspect, that's what's striking to me, right? It's not just, obviously we'll do videos in the future where it'll be maybe more stylistic, and you maybe can't understand what the hell is happening in the lyrics, but it's important for me, right? There's always a story, like 94 Bieber, like, he's born in 94, same year as me. That's the 94 collection. Where we shot it, the mural, you helped me scout that area. You mentioned it to me. It's so important that all these pieces, people don't realize these subtleties help create that storytelling experience, as opposed to, I'm not condemning anyone because people make a really good living off of that. But I just get bored, like seeing the same shots, white background, studio light shining on it. It's like, change it up, add some. I love movement. I'm a huge fan of movement. You'll see in a lot of my photography.
No, for sure. It keeps you busy and it keeps the
Yeah.
audience captivated on what's going on. Because if it's just still
yeah.
like you get bored.
I'm a filmmaker first, right? So I started out this journey as a person that wanted to be like a Tarantino. But as I transitioned into photography, you'll notice that I shoot like as if I'm a filmmaker. That's why there's a lot of shots where it's like a still in a film, or like there's motion, right? Whether it's you, your sister, other people we bring on. It's amazing. Like I have a shot of you guys, I haven't sent it yet, but you're like walking towards the camera, but it's like everyone's looking a different direction, and like, your sister's kind of like swaying her arms, and I caught it like perfectly. Like it's just, I love that. Like it looks like it's alive. You know what I mean? It's not stagnant. It's not like, pose, right? So I'm really happy about that, and I'm really happy that it's so important that as collaborators we share that same vision.
Absolutely.
Going forward, because that's how we're able to create magic. So,
and magically created.
Sorry, what's that?
And magically created.
And magically created. There you go. I love it. So whether we're creatives, entrepreneurs, accountants, or lawmakers, right? We all have a desire to leave behind a legacy. From day one, I've always joked around with my friends. I have it on one of my hoodies, leave behind a legacy. That's one of my mottos. What is the kind of legacy you would like to leave behind with your brand, AFTR Apparel?
I think that, so my brand AFTR Apparel was aiming towards a very minimalistic viewpoint. I'm not one for flashy designs, nothing. Simple. AFTR Apparel, little triangles, which I didn't get to mention, which I will in a second, what they mean. Um, I guess what I want to leave behind is, you don't have to have expensive brands in order to consider yourself fashionable. Simplicity is key.
Yeah.
The simpler it is, the more you can expand with it. Like I was saying before, a hoodie, very basic. You can dress it up, you can dress it down. It's simple.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have all these flashy designs, you can only go certain ways. Yeah, they might be name brands, sure, Gucci, Prada, whatever. That doesn't determine if you're fashionable. That doesn't determine, fashion is an art. It's an art base. You can either go one way or the other. For me, I chose to go simple because you can do so much more with it. So I guess what I want to say is that, don't think in order to be fashionable, you have to own the most high-end brands. You can do whatever you want with what you have. Simpler is better always. Look at H&M. They have like a whole basics collection.
H&M was my store. Still is. Yeah.
Amazing. Still is amazing.
No logos, nothing, just a shirt.
Nothing. Basics. Yeah. Basics. And they're known for their basics.
Great price point.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what our generation has come to. And that's what our generation, that's what fashion has been in the past. That's what it is today. And I can only imagine what it only grows into in the future. Like, it's just, these trends are very repetitive. They always shine light every single, they always make their way back somehow, like we were mentioning before. So I guess simplicity is key. That's what I want. That's
I like that. Yeah, so simplicity is the key to brilliance. I remember seeing that in California. I was on Fairfax Avenue. So you're definitely onto something. I was Fairfax Avenue. For those that don't know, it's like the streetwear mecca of the Western world. That's awesome. That's where Supreme is, Dope, Huff, like all these big top of the line industry leaders. Anyone that's a somebody, that was on the wall in neon. Simplicity is the key to brilliance. And you said it, like when I created my brand, I had a sense of fashion, but obviously I don't know entirely what's up. So my sister, she definitely played a part. I call her my creative director because she's the one that introduced me to pastel colors. And she also told me, like, if you want to tap into the female market, what they look for. So you got the colors, but you also got like you just said, the simplicity. And the logo used to be like in the front, then in the back, like large in the back, like kind of like a jersey number. And she said, just keep it in the front, keep it simple. If you want to put like a tagline or a motto or like some kind of quote, don't put the logo, like, you put it on the sleeve, put the quote right in the center. And just all these pieces of advice kind of helped me to see like another side of the market, because I wasn't just trying to sell to guys, right? And I think that's
for sure.
When I designed it, I think like if we were to collaborate last year around March, it would have been very kind of drab, the hoodies, they're all black, but it was more like rugged. They weren't like delicate. Like yours are black, but it's there's a simplicity to it. Mine had like thick like shoelace like strings. Like it was a different supplier. Yeah, but again, imagine
you learn from that
exactly. But imagine, but it works out for the better, because she understood my vision, right? She understood what I was trying to do with the dance music videos. So unless you have guys like dancing in them and you're trying to do some kind of masculine testosterone driven video, which I was never intending, it won't be the case, right? Because I'm thinking right now, like your sister and her friend there, like they're small, like your sister especially, she's like smaller girl, like she can't wear that kind of heavy set clothing, right? And that's why the pastel colors work. So I'm really happy about that. And yeah, like you said, it's all about simplicity. It's all about identifying the voice you want your brand to have, right? So that's so important. I'm glad you have a legacy in mind with After Apparel. And so where do you intend, before we go, I want to know, like, where do you intend to take this vision, and like what kind of fashion statement are you looking to establish?
I definitely want to. So right now my brand is mainly I'm just keeping it simple right now, since I'm just starting up my brand. Right now it's only black and white, but I definitely want to introduce like jackets, hats. Like I really want to expand this. Like this is
Nice.
a huge passion of mine. Like I really think this, if, with the time and effort put into it, I think that this can, go far, hopefully, fingers crossed. But
Right, right.
like you have to have a passion for what you do. Like you can't just do it for the sole purpose of like, I want some extra cash on the side. Like
Yeah,
we were saying
exactly.
before, like there's a
Yeah.
story behind everything, right? Like, and I want to focus more on the streetwear, like definitely more streetwear. I don't know, maybe in the future I haven't really thought that far yet, to be honest.
No, that's fair.
I think
I
I don't
yeah,
know.
go ahead.
I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, no, and that's
I
fair.
might expand into something else, but I don't honestly, I don't know. I
Yeah.
haven't thought that
Well,
far
what it
yet.
is that, yeah, you're still, that's what I mean. Like you're still, we're both fairly new, right? Like
Mhm.
we've started this and we're kind of like learning the ropes, whether it's from our fathers or whether it's from the market.
Yeah.
And we're just like kind of feeling it out, experimenting. That's what I told you guys too when we were filming, right? Is creativity is a huge risk. It's an experiment.
Mhm.
Nothing is for sure. This photo I take of you right now might not even look good when in edited. But I enjoy that risk because once in a while, or oftentimes, sometimes, you get that golden moment. You get that moment that just ignites, a fire. Uh,
If you don't take the risk, like
yeah,
how do you know the potential outcome? Like if I didn't take this risk, how would I have known if I was going to be where I am today?
exactly.
It's
Yeah,
kind of just like just do it. Like what do you have to lose basically? Like
nothing.
it's
Yeah,
just something you learn from. Like it's just something that, like we should both be extremely proud of, because this is like a huge step in both of our lives. Like it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, but like it wouldn't have happened if we just held ourselves back and be like, like,
it's
am
true.
I good enough for this? Like, is this really is this okay for me?
And I'm grateful for all my, contacts, my collaborations, like, yourself. What I'm saying is because exactly your point. Like when I started the production company, I was just focusing on videography and trying to
Mhm.
get into filmmaking, but I always push a little bit more. I always try to tap into everything I have an interest in or everything that I want to explore. And 94 collection is uh, my representation, my avenue of
Mhm.
my expression, I should say, for my love of streetwear. And I would go on social media a lot, and especially during the pandemic, and I would always see these dance videos, which I shared with you. People
Mhm.
in the mall or people like these girls with friends, dance studios. And maybe because I'm used to, like, I grew up like watching my sister at dance recitals and like her friends and stuff. I always like loved how the music complemented the choreography, and the choreography told a story.
Mhm.
And that's something that dance music video, like, a huge risk. We wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but pretty confident
So
people are going
excited.
to see a lot more of it. So stay tuned, everybody.
And I always say that, like when people ask me like you love art, you love fashion, like what better way to express your love for art than to wear it?
Yeah,
Literally, it's perfect. Like you put every single creation and vision you have in mind, and just like if you're lucky enough, you can, do it yourself,
execute.
or
Yeah,
find your like you can find manufacturers that can do it for you, and just spread your creativity with the world. Like you have nothing to lose,
try to
honestly.
emulate. Yeah, you make a good point. Try to emulate, like, what drives you is, like, drives me for sure is like emulating that creativity that you're imagining, right? Like when I listen
Mhm.
to a song, that's why I mentioned Let It Go. Like when I first heard it, I was imagining like a dance video, like,
You
people
have a
like,
vision, you have an
exactly.
idea, like it just comes to you,
And it's
and
like I
it's
have to get it
crazy.
done, and it would bother me if I didn't, right? And now that it's done, like, it's the itch has been scratched. It's like, what's next? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because so many of us I know out there listen to music, watch a movie, and say, how can I do that? How can I make something like that? And I think it just starts with, like you said, just getting started, right? Picking
Mhm.
yourself up and executing. So I'm really happy you're saying all the right things. Like, very inspiring to hear someone in my community sharing the same interest, but also exploring the path of entrepreneurship. It's not easy, and but you have the right guidance, and you have your father alongside you, and I think that's a huge asset to your business. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this collaboration goes.
I'm super excited.
Between us. Yeah. It's only going to go higher from there, I believe.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So nevertheless, having said that, I really want to thank you again for coming on the podcast and sharing your journey, sharing your brand. Definitely going to have more conversations like these, having you back on the podcast because I want to document our journey
Yeah, for
and have more
sure.
experiences. Maybe we'll get some of the dancers. I don't know if your sister's still shy, but we'll have her on maybe one day, talk about her experience. She can tell people the honest truth, what it's like working with Daniel. The crazy shit I ask people to do. But anyway, really happy you came on the podcast.
Him. I had a great time. He is amazing to work with. Okay. And like great artist, very talented.
Thank you.
Just asked for a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. She wasn't paid to say that, guys. Anyway, anything else you have to say before we leave?
Oh, I didn't mention my triangles.
Oh, yes. Please talk about it.
So the 3 interlocking triangles, I literally totally forgot to mention with the first question you asked me, but this actually represents like the 3 interlocking triangles actually represent a lot. They are known as like the Holy Trinity,
right?
In like Christianity, whatever. But they also have a lot of different meanings. They actually mean past, present, future, which is very idealistic for After Apparel, because I chose After talking about the evolution of fashion trends and how it changes from the past to the future. And I just literally thought I literally was looking through like just ideas and I was like, oh, like this is like such a great way to express after, like it just worked. And
well, that's the whole focus of your brand, right? Like the evolution of fashion trends and how do you best represent that with the triangles is perfect. Because I always wondered why it's triangles. I always just thought it was like A, but it's perfect. It works many different ways, right? You got the A represents the After Apparel, and then you got the timeline, right? Past, present, future. So
it was just like
really cool.
You can agree with me. Like a whole work in progress takes time.
Of course, yeah. But you did
late
it, right?
night thinking.
Like you could be like, I don't know many people, and I mean this, like that started a business, like everyone's, let's be honest, started a business in the pandemic, whatever happened. But I mean like a legitimate, like they started, like they put time, they put effort, they put energy into it, and they've been consistent. And to see that is really admirable, I have to say. Like, you know, like I don't think people understand. Thank you. Yeah. Thank me. It was a necessity because I had to do something different before I was, you know what I mean? Like I was just tired of working a dead end sales job, but got to just keep at it. That's all that's the big lesson I've learned, because you never know who's watching, and you never know who that next client's going to reach out. Yeah. You never know who's going to reach out.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Exactly. Right. So grateful to have you as a collaborator, to have you as a friend. I really do mean that. And looking forward to future work with you. Okay.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, not a problem, Kristan. Yeah, of course. So thank you everyone for listening. Thank you again, Kristan Rea, for coming on the podcast. Go check out After Apparel. It's AFTR Apparel. Yeah, there you go. Show a logo. You can check her out on Instagram. There you go. Yeah, perfect. Beauty. Custom made in Toronto, handmade. Gotta love it. Anyway, we'll talk soon. Okay? Take care.
Take care. Bye, guys.